Hey everybody, good morning and welcome back to Bold TV. We have my friend Betsy Ashton. She is an artist and writer. Welcome, Betsy.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And I'm here happily to talk about an exhibit that just opened.
Yes.
We had a big crowd on Saturday night, and it's now at Portraits of Immigrants, and it's at St. Thomas Church on 5th Avenue and 53rd Street, otherwise known as a few steps from MoMA and 2 blocks from Trump Tower. But
So what inspired you to? Because you mentioned Trump Tower, so I'm curious to get right into it. What inspired you to create this project?
You're on the right topic, because I was actually sitting in church. Actually, people don't think that people in New York City go to church. We actually do, some of us. And I was sitting there. I was listening to, do unto others as you would have them do unto us, and love thy neighbor as thyself, and the Good Samaritan. Be merciful to people. And then I'd go home and listen to all of this noise out there from the 2016 election. And all of a sudden, people are saying hateful things about immigrants and building fear about the people coming into this country. And I'm saying, wait, that doesn't smell right to me. I live in the New York area. I live in New York City. This city has more foreign-born people in it than any other place on the planet. And I've lived here for 30-some years, and I can tell you that none of the immigrants that I know, even the recent ones, are anything like that. So I said, Betsy, maybe it's time for you to stop just painting portraits of the rich and accomplished, which was nice for money and all of that, and working with lovely people. But maybe America's forgotten who we are. And maybe it's time to go out and just talk to the immigrants that you see.
How did you select who you painted?
I started right in my neighborhood. First one was the guy who made my cappuccino every morning on my way from my 5-block commute from my home to my art studio. And I said, Eddie, where are you from? He was from Brazil. Why did you come here? What made you come here? Well, his parents owned a few pizza parlors in Brazil. And after the 8th bloody robbery in Sao Paulo was just so dangerous, they had to fold the business and flee and go into the safe suburbs. But Eddie was a young man. He needed to work. So he put out on the internet, does anybody need a pizza man? And wound up coming to New York State.
Amazing story.
Wow.
And is a great citizen and a proud citizen. And what happened, I started doing the woman who drew blood in my doctor's office was from Poland. And she came over here and had to start all over getting her nursing training and her nursing degree and learning English. And the stories are just amazing. I picked people from different countries and cultures and religions deliberately. And you know what? The stories are fascinating. And the stories that are written beside each one of the paintings, they're just like the stories that we celebrated of past generations of immigrants. And they are gutsy. They are people who had suffered. They are bold. They are gutsy.
Sorry, I can't resist.
Yeah, they've got also the entrepreneurial spirit. You don't leave your country if you're having a wonderful time, if your business is booming, if your family is great and you've got a house in the countryside and all that. You don't leave that. You leave because you've been persecuted. You leave because you've had challenges. The government hates you or something. So I'm a descendant of Quakers who came over here with William Penn. We had a head start getting here. But we were pushed out of England. The people who built this country were immigrants who came here because of the suffering and the problems, whether they were economic or political or religious, where they came from. That, folks, is what made America great.
Right. It's always important.
Human
We've
capital.
always been a startup country.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So I guess you're not a fan of the current immigration policies of this administration.
I'm ashamed of what's going on. It's like kicking the sand in the face of the Samaritan lying in the road. I interviewed one of these women who came up from Guatemala. Now, she came up 20 years ago. She came up by herself. I wanted to find out, why would somebody do that? Why would you put yourself in harm's way? Because you're probably going to get raped up there. You have no protection. You're in a lawless situation coming up through Mexico and then coming across the border at night. Why did she do it? Because her husband abandoned her with their 5 children, ages 3 to 16. She went out to get a job, but the only job she could get was doing laundry.
Right.
And her children were starving. When your children are starving, you don't have money, you don't have the months and months to try to apply to get visas. She was given a choice. They said, you can become a prostitute and she's a good religious woman. She said, no, 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 not indecent work. Or you can leave the country, go get a job in the United States, and send money back. That's what she did. She won't talk about the journey. She's terrible, terrible. She came here. She's a housekeeper.
Right. So, Betsy, we got a viewer comment. Roxy Monroe says those immigrant portraits are fantastic. I think a big distinction that the president has made, because after all, he's married to an immigrant. And he just tweeted out about H-1B visas, which are the high-skilled visas, and he wants to expand them, and he wants to give them a pathway to citizenship. So a big distinction that he makes is legal versus illegal. And when you have Americans who, and the U.S. Civil Rights Commission looked at the effect of illegal immigration on U.S. wages, and they found a depressing effect. So if we're making a distinction about, controlling our economy, making sure that American families are able to feed their children, that they're not suffering from opioid crisis and all the
nobody
major
wants
ills.
that. Nobody
right.
wants.
And so I guess what I'm saying is when the president talks about immigration, it's a very important distinction that I think that a lot of people, his critics, are missing.
Yeah, but he also forgets that somebody's got to come in here and has to pick the organic vegetables and fruits that he wants. It's not the H-1B visas. That's great. We all need people at the top. We want to be a welcoming country. That's not the message that's getting out there. Well, believe me, I've talked to people.
He wants to do it legally.
You talk about the Good Samaritan. I have to go back to this. Why do you think so many evangelical Christians and religious voters and values voters, given what you've just said about Good Samaritan and the teachings in the Bible, have thrown in for Trump?
I cannot understand that. I absolutely can't understand it. It is not the Bible as I know it. It is not religion and morality as I know it. I just do not understand. They've bought into the fear that he's stoking. What he's saying about the immigrants is like saying, oh, a plane crashed. We're never going to let another airplane in the country. We're going to ground them all. And of course, plane crashes are terrible and they get massive coverage because people died, and it's awful. But why don't we ground the planes? We don't do it because we know that 8 million people landed safely that day, and the day before, and the day before, and the day before that, and that air transportation is a good thing, and the world is filled with retired pilots. I mean, the fact of the matter is the immigrants, the real story, are the 8 million, the many millions who are here, and they're not in prisons. And by the way, they're not working at dirt poor salaries very long. New American Economy, which does facts, studies the economic effect of immigration, wonderful place, they will tell you that the immigrants are very fast to get more.
And look, we got to wrap, Betsy, so thanks so much for joining us. I think the important distinction is that this president is absolutely pro-immigrant. He is very pro-immigrant, and I think we can continue this conversation.
I think the world would
quite a few immigrants that might disagree with that.
He wants to stop illegal immigration because that is a broken problem right now. And so let's have you back, Betsy. I would love to.
We need comprehensive immigration reform, not hatred and fear.
Yeah. I think we can all agree on that. Thanks, Betsy. And make sure to check out the artwork there.